Government cloud seeding. What if the deadliest storm in Texas wasn't an accident? What if it wasn't nature at all? What if it was ordered, planned, tested, and released by your own government? Because that flood, it wasn't just water, it was a warning. And the people who caused it are already erasing the evidence. They made it rain. They watched it flood. Then they covered it up. This is not a theory. This is a conspiracy with a paper trail. Let's kill the conspiracy label right now. Cloud seeding is real. It's not just admitted, it's regulated. Texas has an entire government agency dedicated to it, the Texas Weather Modification Board, overseen by the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation. Their goal? Augment rainfall and suppress hail damage. Their method? Aircraft fitted with flares filled with silver iodide, a chemical compound that triggers moisture release from clouds. Each flare acts like a microscopic ice crystal, forcing water droplets to condense and fall. And here's what they don't tell you. Once started, this process can spiral uncontrollably, dumping rain where no one wanted it. Over 42 counties in Texas were under active seeding operations throughout the summer, many of them directly in the flood zone, and no one reported it. July 5th to 6th, 2025. Clear skies. A typical Texas summer. July 7th. Sudden spike in atmospheric moisture, not associated with any tropical system. July 9th. Civilian radar observers detect anomalous echo patterns, including tight concentric rings, something often associated with ionospheric manipulation. July 10th to 11th. Massive rainfall bursts hit north and central Texas, dumping 12+ inches in just 48 hours. July 12th. Bridges collapse. Cars swept off highways. FEMA declares a federal disaster zone. And through all of it, no mention of cloud seeding. Not by the news, not by the governor, not by FEMA, despite public records showing active seeding contracts in affected regions. The TDLR had approved weather modification permits in spring 2025 for West Texas Weather Modification Association and the Panhandle Groundwater Conservation District. One permit read, "Increase seeding payload volume by 15% due to regional drought compensation." And here's the kicker. The region it refers to? The exact corridor where the July floods began. And if you think the feds didn't know, think again. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration has a joint tracking initiative with the Air Force for monitoring atmospheric interference. That program picked up strange readings on July 9th. They called it unexpected saturation anomalies. But did they alert the public? They went silent. Why didn't anyone speak up? The Texas Division of Emergency Management issued vague warnings. Unusual storm development. Stay alert. That was it. Not a word about artificial enhancement. Not a word about seeding aircraft. Governor's office? No statement. FEMA? No comment. Mainstream media? Every single outlet repeated the same line. Unprecedented natural disaster fueled by climate instability. But what if the climate wasn't unstable? What if the instability was deliberately... Now let's talk radar. Independent weather trackers, not government-controlled, posted screenshots on July 10th showing pulsing, ring-shaped rain bursts, rain cells forming without cloud drift, repeated storm formation over identical coordinates every 90 minutes, and moisture densities exceeding natural atmospheric capacity. This isn't how weather behaves, but it is exactly how cloud seeding behaves, especially when combined with high-frequency radio bursts like those tested at HAARP. The official radar archives for those dates? Offline. Data unavailable. Part 6. Historical context. This has happened before. This isn't new. In 1952, the British government accidentally flooded the town of Lynmouth while conducting cloud seeding tests. The result? 34 deaths and an entire village washed away. The U.S. military ran Project Popeye in Vietnam, using weather manipulation to flood supply routes. It worked so well, they classified the results for 30 years. In 2005, China seeded clouds before the Beijing Olympics, triggering floods in rural villages downstream. When asked why they didn't warn anyone, they said the event was deemed controllable. Let's say it clearly. This wasn't nature. It was a controlled flood, a test, a message, or a mistake they're trying to bury. Because natural disasters don't delete radar logs, but cover-ups do. Follow the money. Disaster recovery firms rake in billions. Insurance companies raise premiums blaming climate change while denying payouts. Infrastructure contractors win emergency rebuilding contracts. Data firms get FEMA deals to track displaced citizens. And worst of all, billions in climate aid flood the state, much of it earmarked for smart cities, surveillance infrastructure, and resilient digital tracking. One FEMA document reads, "Rebuild zones will include smart metering, real-time citizen tracking, and water usage compliance sensors." So the flood wasn't just a disaster, it was a reset button. The military and intelligence connection. Dig into the companies involved in cloud seeding in Texas, and you find a pattern. Raytheon, defense contractor with weather manipulation patents. Lockheed Martin, partnered with NASA and DARPA on ionospheric testing. Northrop Grumman, developed classified weather control prototypes in the early 2000s. These companies don't just build weapons, they build weather systems. And in July 2025, they had test zones mapped out across the southern U.S., some of them matching the Texas flood zones exactly. Coincidence? Or target practice? Try posting about this on YouTube. The videos get demonetized or taken down. Try asking about it on Reddit. Your account gets flagged. Independent weather researchers on TikTok who posted data from July 11th? Videos removed. No explanation. The Houston Chronicle had a story drafted about unusual flight patterns the week of the flood. It was pulled before publication. The editor? Reassigned. This isn't just a lie, it's an engineered silence. Here are just a few of the weather manipulation patents. U.S. Patent 3,630,950. Weather modification method. U.S. Patent 5,360,162. Method and apparatus for altering a region in the Earth's atmosphere. U.S. Patent 6,315,213. Method of modifying weather using aircraft exhaust. NASA Patent 6,315,213 B1. Cloud seeding using carbon black to enhance rainfall. These are not theories. These are registered technologies, and they're being used quietly, secretly, sometimes disastrously. In 2024, a seeding technician working for a West Texas weather firm wrote anonymously, "We're told to keep quiet, to say nothing. We've been warned that too much transparency jeopardizes national interests." In 2022, a former NOAA atmospheric engineer published a blog post claiming, "The weather is no longer free. Every cloud is a decision." The post disappeared. So did he. Right now, radar data from July 9th to 13th is disappearing from public archives. Seeding companies are taking their websites offline. Government pages on Texas weather permits are being scrubbed, and the public is being told to be resilient and rebuild. No accountability, no transparency, just silence. But that silence speaks volumes. While bureaucrats issue statements, and while billionaires get contracts, Texans buried their dead. Real people died, homes destroyed, livelihoods gone, because someone in power decided to tamper with the sky. Whether it was an accident, or a test, or something darker, they knew what they were doing. They saw the warnings, and they said nothing. This was not a natural disaster. This was state-sanctioned silence, and it's time we stopped pretending they didn't know. They made it rain. They let it flood. And now, they're burying the truth under concrete and contracts. But we remember. We question. We refuse to let it go. Because if they control the skies, what else are they willing to sacrifice? This is Halt Videos. We're watching, and we're still asking the hard questions. And the storm has only just begun.